Does learning about the pros and cons of living in Mexico City sound interesting to you? This video is going to provide that content. I was very fortunate to have the opportunity to actually visit Mexico City for an entire week. I walked around, I saw different neighborhoods, I engaged with the locals, and so I wanted to tell you all about some of the things that I liked and some of the things that I disliked about Mexico City, so it can help you decide if you're interested in living there and you just want additional information. So I want you all to know this video is a response video to Adalia's video that will be linked in the description box. Adalia had a video that talked about underrated Mexico City neighborhoods, and I'm responding to that. I'm going to give you information in general about country scouting, but she's going to provide a lot more details about the specific areas and specific neighborhoods. So, welcome to my channel. Fly Like Me PhD. I am Dr. Maya, and I encourage Black women to move or live abroad. I have visited 45 countries and I have lived in 6 of those countries. So if this is interesting to you, please feel free to subscribe right now. Y'all, we are doing fantastic with the subscriptions. We are almost at 500 subscribers. I just can't believe it. I feel so loved and appreciated by you all. I'm so glad you're enjoying my content. I love providing this content to you all. I love talking about these topics. You know that I'm very, very passionate about this. So to see that you all enjoy it too, I see you seeing me, seeing you seeing me. So, as you know, sometimes I move around my house in different places to show you the different things that are on my wall, because my wall will always represent who I am. So right behind me is my vision board. And this is where I really just kind of show what the year is going to mean for me. So please just take a look. With my vision board, as you can see in the center, I really wanted to center Black pride and Black women. So I have some famous Black women. I have Shonda, we have Serena, Keke Palmer, Meg Thee Stallion, Issa Rae, because I always want to remember the beauty of Black women, the importance of our stories, and center those. Literally in my vision board, it's in the center. Then if you move over to this side, you will see right here, I have information about traveling. You know, traveling is a passion for me. So just making sure that I am traveling domestically and internationally. Below that is what I'm doing right now, is talking to you, making sure that we are always having conversation about what's going on in the world and about travels. And then on this side, I have things that are going to remind me to take care of myself and mental health, read some books, go on some walks, have conversations, get a massage. And then below that, healthy eating, y'all. It's really important to me to be healthy and to watch what goes into my body. So healthy eating is always going to be key. So that is what I am sitting in front of. And if you're enjoying this video, if you like my channel, you can go ahead and like my video now. Like my video now. Like my video now. So let's get into what this conversation is about today. We are talking about the pros and cons of country scouting in Mexico City. So remember, country scouting is kind of trying out a country to see if you're interested in living there in the future, seeing those pros and cons, and if that is a place you want to live. So first, I want to start by letting you know the cons that I had in Mexico City. One of the major things is going to be crowds. If you don't like crowds, there are too many people, you don't want it to be wall to wall, then Mexico City might be a lot for you. There are crowds everywhere. When we went to the museum, there were long lines and lots of crowds. When we went to the bus station, there was lots of crowds and lots of people. But I do want to tell like a positive story. When I went to the bus station, there was this woman that saw that I was like struggling with my bus card, and she came and helped me upload money to my bus card. So thank you for that wherever you are. But just know there is a lot of traffic in Mexico City. So going off of the conversation of traffic, this can be a lot of cars and buses. It's going to be a pro. I'm going to mention this to you all in terms of transportation, but it also can be a con, just like there's just a lot of people if that is too much for you. So the next con that I'm going to discuss is the sidewalks. If you are a person that has a stroller, if you have a wheelchair, if you like to bike, then sometimes the concrete can be a little uneven, which makes it difficult to navigate. So if you're not a fan of an uneven concrete, that is a challenge in Mexico City. And we don't want you to break your ankle, So even if you're just walking, you got to watch where you're walking because there could be a hole right there, right on the sidewalk. So they are uneven in some places. Now I want to tell you all about the presence of Black people. We know this is a channel that centers Blackness, so we need to talk about it. The thing that Adalia also mentions in one of her videos is that this is not going to be like the US where we have specific areas that there are large concentrations of Black people, such as Detroit. Y'all know that's where I'm from, okay? Or like an Atlanta or Chicago where you can run into Black people all day, every day. It is not that. There are Black people in the space, but you might have to get together to actually find them. They might not just be walking around every single day and you see them all the time, or they might be spread out within the city so you don't get as much contact with them as you want. You all know that I tend to tell you about history, so let's get into it. In terms of enslaved population, they brought a lot of enslaved people they enslaved, to the coast of Mexico. So you can see larger populations of Afro-Mexican people, for example, in something like Oaxaca. So if you are wanting to see or connect with the population, the Black population, diasporic population in Mexico, then a place like Oaxaca would be a good place to go, but not necessarily Mexico City. I also want you to know about the shops in the stores. Sometimes they tend to close early. So if you're a person that wants to stay out late, if you like to be out and about, sometimes in particular neighborhoods, some of these shops and some of these stores may close early. So just be aware of that. So the final two pieces, I want to take a little bit more time. I talk about like when there is something that might be a little bit more sensitive, I want to slow down the conversation so we can have engagement about that. So the first piece of this is going to be about gentrification. So in Mexico City, there is a presence of gentrification. There are a lot of white people in particular neighborhoods, and one of those neighborhoods is Roma Norte. And so we noticed that in that space, it kind of catered to American living and American way of life and culture, and people are really changing the space. They are increasing the rent prices because maybe the locals could not afford to pay rent at the price that people from America could. And so then obviously as a landlord, you're like, okay, let me raise the rent then. And so then it prices out people that are actually from the space. You all know I do not agree with gentrification. I think that it is highly problematic and we should not be pricing out locals. And so this is going to be a major con to Mexico City. If you are an American that is living in Mexico City, you need to be aware of this history and the context of what the U.S. has done to Mexico and make sure that you're not there causing more harm. So as a result, the other con is sometimes in Mexico City, I felt that people did stare at me a lot and could have been perceived as unfriendly. And this might have been because they're tired of the presence of Americans being there. They're tired of getting pushed out of their own home, and rightfully so. So they're not going to be as open or as kind or receptive or as warm because of this history. So definitely knowing your history will let you know how people are being treated in the space and why specifically they were treated in that way. I will say that once I spoke Spanish to people, they definitely warmed up. They seemed a lot more kind or connected to me then, because as we know, there are people, Americans, that will go abroad and expect people to speak English, but they're not trying to learn their language, which is also problematic. So those are the things that I really wanted to tell you all. But overall, I had a wonderful time in Mexico City. You all know that I'm really interested in moving to Colombia next year. I'm hoping that that can be a thing, y'all. We're going to have to say, but my backup would be Mexico City. I would have no problem living there. I felt like it was a really great space and I had a really good time in Mexico City. So I would highly recommend that you all just check out Mexico City in general. It was a really, really nice opportunity and I'm glad that I was fortunate to be able to go there. So thank you. I'm now going to go into the pros of Mexico City. So recently, y'all, I had to add a pro because whoa, things are happening. So due to the things that are happening in the world right now, Mexico City has actually been giving a lot of people residency. Before temporary residency, before there were more hoops you had to jump through, you maybe had to have a specific amount of money in your bank account to get there. Now people are getting temporary residency for 4 years in just a few days and don't really have to prove a lot to be able to live there and to have that residency. So I want to let you all know about this so that in case you are interested in getting temporary residency in Mexico, then they now have the opportunity that makes it a little bit easier to do so. Mexico City has really great food. It's got all the food you want. We went to a vegan taco shop and I was with somebody that was a meat eater and she loved the food too. Okay. Meat eaters can like vegan food too. They have food from different countries, from Argentina, from India, just a very immense palette. If you are interested in food, Mexico City got you on the food. Lots of variety in terms of food options. Very, very good food. They also had a shop maybe that it had falafel and shawarmas. They had street food, and we know street food can be good, but you also got to watch out for that street food because you're I don't want to get sick. So for some of us that aren't from the space, the street food could make us sick, but for locals, obviously they eat the street food more often, so that's not a huge issue for them. But good food. Mexico City got good food, y'all. If you gonna be in Mexico City, check out that food. Another pro that I have for you is that the markets are open on specific days. So shout out to Adalia. I know I'm really mentioning her a lot, but she knows a lot about Mexico City. So you guys need to really go and check out her channel. Shout out to Adalia because she has a lot of information about the markets. If you go to her website, she talks about particular markets that you can go to. And I went to the website and I took notes on markets that she mentioned. I was able to go to one of them and the market had everything. It reminded me of a bazaar. It had outfits and shoes. They were selling herbs. They were selling food, not all in the same spot, but it was so immense that it was selling everything that you were looking for. Fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, all by the locals. So I would highly recommend that if you're going to Mexico City, you definitely check out the different markets that they have. Really, really great markets. Also, y'all, this is a walkable city. If you tired of paying that car note, if you tired of that car maintenance, you don't need a car in Mexico City. You could just live your life. They got great transportation. They have DD, which is their own app that you can use in country. To get a taxi. They even have Uber. If you want that Uber, you can walk. That is always a form to get to one place to the next. They have buses. I told you that we went on the bus and it was really nice. They have a lot of really good transportation. This is a walkable city. Leave that car behind. Also, the weather is pretty good. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. Maybe you wear a jacket every now and then. Maybe you'll get warmth from the sun. Really, really nice weather. Not extreme in either way. And then they have a lot of neighborhoods, y'all. So many options in terms of neighborhoods. They're so vast and they're so immense. There's just a lot of neighborhoods that you have to choose from. And this was probably my favorite part of Mexico, like Mexico City, is just seeing all the neighborhoods. You have neighborhoods where there was like a shop that I went into and it had really nice clothing, like bedazzled. I was talking to the locals. They were really kind. You have places that have really nice restaurants. You have, I stayed in Narvante. I would highly recommend if you are going to visit Mexico City that you stay in one of the Narvantes. I stayed in Narvante Poniente and I really liked it. There are places that have like a lot of transportation. There have places that have the grocery stores. So if you're looking for something, Mexico City's going to have a neighborhood that caters to it. So go ahead, Mexico City with the neighborhoods. Yes, yes. We love to see it. We always going to love to see it. Also, they have lots of cafes. So if you need to work, you're a student, you're working remotely, there are cafes available to you in order to be able to do this work. There also are pharmacies that you can go to if you need to like buy medical supplies and things of that nature. If you have a condition, they have pharmacies, they have bodegas. I told you all about the bodegas where you can just go somewhere really quickly and get some of the essentials that you need. I also want to mention they have really great museums. So we went to the Frida Kahlo Museum, and remember I told you there's crowds, there's lines. There was a long line for the Frida Kahlo Museum as well. But what happened was they were dividing us up, like everyone had a different time frame that they could go into the Frida Kahlo Museum. And you will reserve ahead of time your ticket. And so you might be assigned to go. You can choose your time. You might choose the time to go at 3. And then the next group is at 3:30. And then there's a group at 4. But there was a long line of us waiting. But the Frida Kahlo Museum is definitely worth it. You all should look at that museum. It was just so cool to see the artwork, to see where she lived, to learn a lot more about her life. It just felt so real and rich and really brought everything into life. I went to the Museum of Anthropology, and it had a lot of culture in there as well. So if you are interested in museums, culture, history, Mexico City got you. Y'all know I like to show stuff from where the places that I visit, souvenirs. And so I have this wonderful souvenir. This is a cutting board that I got in Mexico City. As you can tell, she is scratched up. Some of the color is going away because I use her all the time. She's very sturdy. Very sturdy, very good cutting board. I thought that this was just so fantastic. I loved this design up here. I probably will take her abroad with me. I've been using her for almost a year now. She's a great cutting board. And yes, I pronouned my cutting board as a she. But this is I just like an amazing piece of art. That is what Mexico City has to bring to you. Just great culture, history, great art. If you are interested, great souvenirs. If you're trying to bring stuff back to your family, they have all of that definitely. So this is also a place with the international airport. And this is really good if you are trying to fly in and fly out. You got to go and visit your family. You need to hurry up and get back to the U.S. There's an emergency. You want to be in a place with an international airport. An international airport is going to give you a variety of flights and times that you can go. And you don't have to worry about like being stuck somewhere or taking a bunch of layovers to get to where you need to go. And so Mexico City has an international airport, and that is key if you're what? A world traveler. Next is that they are embracing of the LGBTQ community. So if you are a member of that community, they have flags everywhere. Like the apartments, we walked around, there was like a LGBTQ flag almost everywhere. And then a place like Zona Rosa really embraces the LGBTQ community in particular. So if you're wanting to find community and connection, you can go there specifically to find it. But just all in all, it seemed like they really embrace the community, which we love to see. And I also wanted to mention to you all that there are so many Black people, Black Americans in Mexico. They are all over, not just in Mexico City. We have people in Mérida. We have people in Playa del Carmen. We have people in Guadalajara, and we have people in Mexico City. So if you are looking for community with Black people, they have it. And some of these groups are like Black Expats in Mexico, which is a group on Facebook. You can find things like the Brothers and Sisters of various places in Mexico. And I was a part of the Black Girl Magic WhatsApp group, Black Girl Magic Mexico City. And so I just want to mention my friend Star. She's also a YouTuber, and she goes to Mexico City and has lived there. And I met her from this group. So I actually contacted a few of the women in that group, and we met together. It was about 3 of us, and Star and I are still friends to this day. Hey, Star. And so it is fantastic to find community. It really allows you to find other wonderful Black people in the space you can connect with. So if you're interested in Mexico City, if you're looking at it, you should look and try to find some of those groups. Also, again, I got you, Adalia. I got you. If you go to Adalia's website, I'll also link that in the description box for you all, so you can visit her website. You book a call with her. She can give you information, detailed information. I mean, she gave me so much information. We had a one-on-one. I was like, you better go. She told me all about neighborhoods in Mexico City. That's how I decided what neighborhood I wanted to stay in. It was very true. All the things she said about the places, how close they were, how far away they were. When I got there, her notes were superb. So you can book a call with her, and she can tell you about others, groups that you can join in related to Mexico City. In addition, if working out is important to you, this is good. Y'all know they got great transportation and it's walkable, so people is walking. But in addition, they have gyms. There is one gym called Smart Fit, which I used to work out in Colombia. Fantastic gym. Love that gym. It even has classes. It has lots of equipment. It is a really, really good gym, and they have that gym in Mexico City. And there's lots of green spaces in Mexico City too. So if you have a pet, it is also pet friendly. That is another pro. If you have a pet, then you can definitely take it to one of those green spaces. Or if you just like to walk around and just like to be in the presence of a green space, then that is available in Mexico City as well. So if this sounds good to you, I will highly recommend you take a trip to Mexico City. You check it out. Like I said, this is on the list of top places I would like to move to if I got the opportunity. So I also want to let you all know that is the conclusion of this video, but I do have another video on country scouting, and it is related to Medellin, Colombia. And it's also, I have another one on Curacao. So this is my 3rd country scouting video. So if you are interested in more country scouting, please see those videos, and I will also link those as well. So as you know, I'm always interested in us writing in the comments. So if you've been to Mexico City or Mexico at all, let us know what your experience was like in Mexico City, what you liked, what you didn't like. And if you've been to other cities in Mexico, let us know so we can get information about whether we would be interested in traveling there. Finally, I'm going to let you all know about our next video. So you all know that I listen when you talk to me and ask me for things. And so I got a request on my Africa video. Folks are really interested in seeing pictures and seeing videos, maybe seeing some proof that I was there. I got you. So our next video, we're talking about my African travels. It is like a part 2 to the part 1, where it's going to be the same 5 countries that I had mentioned before. before, and this time I'm going to add some pictures in there, add some videos so we can really bring that experience to life. So if that interests you, definitely be looking forward to that. I hope you all are having a really wonderful month. I've enjoyed talking to you in the month of March, and I look forward to seeing you in April. And we are talking about, or starting that month off, talking about African countries. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.